had a great, as you mentioned, great performance. Ran through the state rounds undefeated.
Yep.
Runner-up to the Season 2 Invitational. So quite the resume for that deck at this point.
We are underway here between Brady and Karmanzin. It is a green-white aggro versus black-white mid-range. Jesse did mulligan to 6. Brady looks as though he may have kept his 7. He starts off things with a mana confluence, which is very telling, and then an experiment 1. So maybe he kept the 1-lander here. We don't know.
Now, a weakness of green-white aggro, not the best deck against Pack Rat. It is an issue. And in fact, when we had this matchup, the finals of Indianapolis, Andrew Strout against Owen Turnwald, it was Pack Rat that doomed Andrew Strout in those games.
Really competitive games between those two players, but it was Pack Rat that got the job done. Here's a Voice Resurgence. That's going to evolve Experiment 1 into a 2-2. We're getting into the red zone. Karmanzin is down to 18, already under the gun here. And we don't know if Karmanzin has a second land. It looks like he does. It's a swamp. And let's see if it will be a Pack Rat or not. And it's going to be a Bile Blight to take care of Experiment 1, so that's going to go away. Voice Resurgence forcing Karmanzin to play his instant speed removal as sorceries.
Also don't want to get fancy against green-white aggro. There are pump spells on the list. Sometimes they have God's Willing. Better just kill stuff when the shields are down.
An attack here for 2 is going to put Karmanzin down to 16. Let's see what the follow-up play is going to be. It'll be a Fleecemane Lion. Going to follow this up. Brady will take 1 from Mana Confluence. It's a Sunblade Elf, so a fantastic start here for Hal.
Sunblade Elf is another, when people ask about what are the M15 players, Sunblade Elf's already found a home in this deck.
Yeah.
Another 2-power 1-drop, and it's another sync alongside things like Boon Satyr, Mistcutter Hydra that give you a little bit of a hedge in case you're flooding out.
Oddly enough, as much talk as there has been, and this will be a Life Pain Zombie, and that is going to miss, as you see in a Johnny Call of the Pride and a Plains. As much talk as there has been about M15 and how it affects Standard, and there's a ton of new cards in that set, even when you and I were in the booth just kind of reviewing the cards before the set even got released, we never talked about Sunblade Elf.
Yeah, it just isn't. It's an innocuous seeming card, but it fits in so well to what this deck's up to.
This deck is looking to give the beatdowns, and Sunblade Elf does a fantastic job of that. Now you see Brady's draw for the turn was a Soldier of the Pantheon, but it's not time to cast that. It's time to deploy a Johnny Caller of the Pride. It's going to start on 4, and it looks like it might be headed to 5. We'll see how Brady does want to use this card. Life Bane Zombie missed, so it's not going to be a 2-for-1, but it does have the ability to trade with something here depending on how Brady attacks.
I think what I like to do here is pump the Fleecemane Mine and attack with that and Voice of Resurgence. You're about to hit the stage of the game where Sunblade Elf is online. I wouldn't want to just trade that. And attacking with these 2 creatures is pretty free.
Well, he's going to attack with everybody. Going to make the Fleecemane into a 4-4 from the counter. So we'll see how Karmanzin does want to block here. It's not a great time to block, honestly. He does have to block because he obviously doesn't want to take this much damage, but, what do you block here in this situation? I think you might be right where it might just have to be Sunblade Elf that you trade with.
Well, if you have a 2-mana removal spell of some sort, you could say, I'll take it all, untap, hit a Johnny with Mutavault and Lifebane Zombie and kill something. So it's not 100% that he's going to block here. But he would have to have a 2-mana removal spell and an untapped 4th land to even consider that line of play.
Well, we're going to see how the blocks are going to go. And you can see Jesse is pretty unsure of himself at this point, but that will be a block. So, going to trade with the Sunblade Elf. So it's time to untap. We will take a draw. Brady getting a lot of damage through, and this is kind of the power of green-white. Hal's had a great start this game, and those creatures are so very big, and they're really resilient too. If Hal draws a 5th land next turn, for example, what do you do?
Yep. And maybe that's the reason he was willing to trade off the Sunblade Elf, is he already had something powerful to do with his 5th mana, which is go monstrous with Fleecemane Lion.
You see Jesse right now, he's got a copy of Thoughtseize in his hand, very, very far away from Elspeth, doesn't even have another land. He's just going to concede the game. He could have cast Sign and Blood that turn to draw, but he goes down to 8 to do that, and then you've got a Johnny pressuring perhaps the minus ability giving Flying Double Strike to something. He knows the writing's on the wall. He concedes the game. Hal Brady, former Standard Open champion in this room, does win game number 1 with green-white aggro. We're going to head to the sideboards here. We will start with Jesse's, which you have in front of you.
3 Duress, a Banishing Light, and Underworld Connections, 2 Dublades, a Deicide, 3 Nyx Fleece Rams, a Liliana Vest, and Erebos God of the Dead, 2 copies of Drowned in Sorrow. I think you're going to see the 2 copies of Drowned in Sorrow come in here alongside Nyx Fleece Ram and Banishing Light, 2 Dublades. Removals, blockers, and some sweepers. Drowned in Sorrow is not perfect for this matchup, but it's probably good enough.
On this side of things for Hal, he's got 4 copies of Skyglasher, a Banishing Light, a Deicide, 3 copies of God's Willing, 2 copies of Tessin Tactics, 2 of Johnny Steadfast, and 2 copies of Hunt the Hunter. Skylash plus a Johnny Steadfast has become stock for these decks now. We don't see Unflinching Courage anymore.
Yeah, Steadfast can be good in games that don't involve Skylasher. Also allows you to play offense-defense as opposed to Unflinching Courage where you're just attacking.
The cards I like the most here, truthfully, is just God's Willing. I don't really care for very much else. Banishing Light is fine, but he's already got 3 copies of those in the main deck, and there's a chance that he might actually want to pull away from that a little bit. Hunt the Hunter, not for this matchup. Same thing can be said for Skylasher. Johnny Steadfast is a little bit too slow to the board. And then Setesting Tactics is fine. I don't know if he really wants those or not, though.
So I have seen Setesting Tactics come in pretty aggressively by most green white players in pack rat matchups, even if it isn't really that good in the abstract, because pack rat is such a concern, and usually Setesting Tactics can be set up to kill a bunch of pack rats because your largest creature takes out their largest rat, and then you sort of chain down the line, taking out their subsequently smaller pack rats. I'm not the biggest fan of it in the matchup, but if you're really worried about pack rat, it's one of the better cards you can have.
Well, both players are going to shuffle up here. We will watch Black-White mid-range versus Green-White aggro continue in just a moment, but we do want to take a short moment to talk about our favorite squirrel friend, the brand new Acorn Mystic. You can, of course, get 2 of these tokens anytime you do enter a Legacy Open Series event. And, of course, you do see all the swag on the screen there, and the playmat, the dice bag, the deck box, and the sleeves.
Beloved, this token series and the set of artwork that we're cranking out here.
So what I can see now for next year, see where the StarCityGames.com is there at the top? And you put like a killer in red font, kind of like a blood dripping type thing, and then it's killer creature collection. And then you just have animals attacking things.
A shark with its mouth open about to chomp down on the StarCityGames.com banner.
There it is.
There it is.
There it is, open for interpretation. You know, then you have maybe in the background a hippo chasing people.
Right.
Them trying to run away.
Capsizing a boat.
That's the big one, I think.
Yeah, flipping over a boat.
That's the big one. The capsizing boat is our go-to offense, but it makes for a great image.
Yeah. So we'll talk. I mean, this sort of creative work, not my specialty.
Me either.
Generally speaking, I leave it to the experts, but I believe the killer creature collection is just waiting to be done here. So I'm going to start pushing on people.
I think that's just a moneymaker.
That's
right
just,
there.
What are we even talking about here? You know, why are we not doing this?
Let's get that rolled out. But for right now, we just have our normal creature collection series. Again, Acorn Mystic as of June 13th. This is available, and of course, anytime you do enter a Legacy Open, including the one tomorrow here in Dallas, you can get 2 of those Acorn Mystic tokens.
Very popular, and yeah, you see, there's a bunch of different stuff you can buy if you're really like this sort of stuff. Playmat, dice bag, sleeves, deck box, the whole shebang.
So, Green-White up a game, 4-1. Scott Lipp was 4-0 coming in the last round, so at the worst, he's 4-1.
I think he was 3-1 and picked up a loss. He was 3-2 on our leaderboard.
Okay.
Unless there's a mistake on our leaderboard, which I suppose is possible, I think he may be already done for.
Okay.
And Joe Lissette, too, 2-2-1.
Yeah, that's tough.
Ouch.
That's tough. This is and the thing for Joe is, you know, he's got to play out these next 6 rounds because he needs those points.
Oh, no, there's no cutting out of work early today, Joe.
Got to get your grind on.
You got to put in a double shift of magic.
And let's not forget tomorrow, you know he's going to be playing Miracles. You know that's going to be a long day. But this is his last Open Series event before our Invitational in New Jersey for Season 3. So every point matters for Joe. And as you mentioned, too, we don't know, we don't have a great idea of what the IQ schedule is over there at the West Coast for Joe. You have to imagine there'll be some event to play in between, after this event is over in the Invitational. So
San Diego's got a pretty robust IQ scene. I mean, there's one, not every weekend, but a lot of weekends.
So he can still get points. I mean, that's how he actually was able to expand his lead is, 2 weeks ago, he got 3rd in IQ on a Saturday and then 1 in IQ on a Sunday. So that's how he was able to get some open points to expand his lead over Alex. So we'll see if he can continue to do that.
But today will be, this is when we talk about going to the Players' Championship. We have the highlight reel, tournaments won, top 8s, awesome top decks. This is the stuff that's not going to be on the highlight reel. It's you're in the 2-2-1 bracket of an 11-round standard tournament. You got to put your head down and just keep playing.
Kind of some breaking news here. I know that on the pro circuit, they did announce the brand new Grand Prix schedule. We've talked about it a little bit. There's one in San Diego, and there's also one in Seattle. Star City Games going to have 3 to host next year.
Excellent.
We have one in Miami, again, March 7th and 8th. That's right around my birthday. Here's a Thoughtseize. One in Charlotte, June 13th and 14th.
One of my favorite cities.
Which one?
Charlotte.
Yeah, Charlotte's great. And then we have one in Atlanta, November 14th and 15th. So that's pretty sweet. Not as sweet as Thoughtseize, but it's pretty sweet. Thoughtseize going to reveal a hand of 2 Lockstone Spiders. Don't click those. Sunblade Elf.
Don't click it.
Yeah, Sunblade Elf, along with an Ajani, and then a couple of lands here in Temple Garden, a Plains, and a Mana Confluence.
A great opening hand here for Hal. Not really the most dynamic of hands, but a good clock.
No. Just do not select Lockstone Spider.
Don't touch it. Don't touch
No.
it. It's a trap. It just comes into play.
Just let him cast it on turn 3. It's all right. There goes a Johnny. Hal's going to draw a card. It's a copy of Banishing Light. Temple Garden going to come and play on tap, and there's a 2/2 for 1 mana to start things off.
What a deal. What's really nice about this green-white deck is it's a bunch of creatures that make you say, what a deal.
Yep, over and over and over again. It's pretty much like the most honest deck, too.
Yep.
I mean, yeah, the creatures are, really efficient for their cost, but by and large, it is just what a deal over and over and over again. And here's a Sign in Blood. You have to pay 2 life to do that, and then 2 from the sign. So.
It's a store where everything's on sale. Just what a deal.
Yeah, and you look at it and you say, why is that on
3/3
sale?
for 2 with a power?
Yeah.
What a deal.
How do you guys stay open? In comes the Sunblade Elf. Here's the Forest.
How do you guys stay in business?
Hal actually kind of tipping his hand by playing that Forest, because what that means is that's one of the 2 cards that he's drawn that Jesse hasn't seen yet.
Yeah. Assuming Jesse's really on the ball, it is a bit of an information leak.
See if Jesse has something to do on turn 3. Lifebane Zombie would certainly be good right now. If I had one, I would cast it. And Jesse is going to weigh his options. He does have a Doomblade there that he's looking at. Also has a Banishing Light too if he wants to be efficient with his mana. But a little unsure of himself right now. It looks like he's going to tap 3 mana. Okay, he's going to go with Banishing Light. Now, you might be asking yourself, why Banishing like that when I can Doomblade it? Well, it's all about being efficient with his mana. The next turn, he could go, cast Sign in Blood and Doomblade the same turn.
Besides that, green-white aggro plays a lot of instant speed. Advent of the Worm, Boon Satyr. Sorcery speed tricks are a lot worse than instants.
So there's a Smiter there from Brady. Karmanzin does draw a card. Looks like he wants to play a Mutavault, but maybe not, and he will play that. And now there is a Pack Rat, and I like casting Doomblade now if he can, but he doesn't choose to, because God's Willing is a card that these green-white decks have been playing.
Yeah, don't mess around. Just, especially when you have something like Pack Rat, like you have this great path to win the game. The only thing that can happen to you to have things go wrong is you kind of get tempoed out.
There's a Banishing Light to take that off the table. Going to follow up with the Temple Garden tap before passing the turn back. Will Brady over to Karmanzin. Karmanzin will draw a card. Now this is exactly how Jesse wants the game to go.
Oh, this has been just a perfect curve.
He has had to pay some life to get some things done with Sign in Blood and Thoughtseize, along with Godless Shrine. But, by and large, he's happy with how this game has gone. Lockstone Smiter gonna stare down a Bloodbearer of a Scope, and we know who wins that war.
Green-white is not that well equipped to beat this card.
This is a Thoughtseize. There's a Smiter.
Hooray.
That's a freebie.
Hooray!
Yep. You don't see that often.
This might be the first time I've seen that.
I think it might be the first time on camera. Bloodbearer might have to slow its roll a little bit now.
It depends what Jesse's leftover is, but if you can't kill the spiders, then attacking is not the best here.
Yeah, there's a Temple a Temple of Silence. That's going to leave the top card, it looks like, on top of the deck. He's going to consider that a little bit more. You see, all I can do is laugh right now. Saying, third Smiter, really?
No one's thinking that Thoughtseize guy is a victim here, Jesse. So don't even look for sympathy.
Let's see what this is going to be. It's going to be a Pack Rat before passing the turn back.
Yeah, poor you.
As Hal draws another land. And this is kind of where the game shifts, because Jesse's draws are better than Hal's in this situation.
Oh, easily. And Jesse's draws, the floor on Jesse's draws is it's a rat.
Yeah.
That's the worst case scenario.
And the best case scenario could be it's an Elspeth. Hal draws another land. This is where things get tough for green-white. And Jesse will make a rat, discard a Godless Shrine. As you mentioned, that's the floor.
Yeah. Jesse might draw Elspeth and cast it, maybe. But for the most part, we're just going to be looking at some rats.
Looks like we're going to see some rat beatdowns in just a second. Maybe, maybe not.
And I think at this stage, Blood Baron's a fairly safe attack. I guess he always has to be worried about Advent off the top.
Yeah, I would rather just kind of hang back with Blood Baron, I think. Like, in this situation, for example, you can just attack with a rat. It's a 2/2. You've got a Mutavault back and a card in your hand. You don't want to get overly aggressive because green-white can kill you out of nowhere, but hey, here we go.
Yeah, certainly Ajani enables all sorts of kills. And this is a spot where, if Hal's hand is something like God's Willing or Boon Satyr, it's pretty messy.
Yeah. You're going to discard a card, make a rat. Yeah, so he's just moving in. He just wants to try to get this game over with. Now, going to be able to gain 4 life from the Baron, going to go up to 14. You're going to be able to deal 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So, this play is a little bit risky, but it's going to work out. As Brady just has a mitt full of lands, draws a copy of Fleecebane Lion for the turn, but that's not all that good. That's just another creature. And Hal Brady knows that he is dead, so he's going to pick up his permanents, and Jesse Karmanzin is going to win game number 2, even though he did Thoughtseize Loxodon on Smiter.
Yeah, but it was kind of at a stage of the game where it wasn't like it happened on turn 1 or anything.
And he also had no choice.
You had to take it.
Yeah. So, game number 3 will be underway in just a moment here. Both players are going to take a look at their decks again, see if they want to change any of their configurations here. And it looks like Hal is very, very happy to change his, as both players having a laugh.
How much are you anticipating the return of Texas Billy Moreno to competitive Magic?
I don't think I can put it into words.
Yeah.
I don't know what to tell you. I love it.
Yep.
I love it.
Hanging out in the background there behind Hal, for those of you who don't know.
Pro Tour runner-up Billy
Pro
Moreno.
Tour finalist, member of Wizards R&D, lead developer on M15, and has been out of has left Wizards close to a year ago, so he's close to being able to return to competitive play. And we are very excited about having him.
Been a year?
In September, I think.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
that's kind of crazy.
Been a bit.
That's kind of crazy. Yeah, I'm going to be really happy to see Billy come back. Billy is just
a treasure.
It's funny because, like, I can't believe I'm going to say that. I think he's old school.
He's not.
He's not, though. Yeah, I know, he's not. It's just kind of crazy to say that. But, when I met Billy, it was in 2005, I think. Or, I mean, whenever he got second in the Pro Tour, which I'm pretty sure was 05 because it was in LA.
Yep, 05.
Yeah, and that's, oh my God, I'm going to say it. It's almost a decade ago.
So my first interaction was at that Pro Tour. I grinded in and was missing cards. Billy
you grinded in with a real doozy.
Billy had never met me before and loaded me cards, sight unseen. That's our first interaction. Then Billy came in second with that awesome Psychotog Lone Brew. He's also the builder of the Hulk Flash deck that Steve Sadin won Grand Prix Columbus with that was playing Dark Confidant.
Yep.
So he's built numerous incredible decks and is an awesome human being.
I guess he's got that going for him, too.
Yeah.
He does okay.
He's a good man, and he'll be back soon.
And he likes to brew.
Oh, yeah.
There are few people who like to brew more than Billy.
Yeah, he is a brewer.
Sometimes the brews hit, sometimes the brews whiff. His brews are actually pretty good, though.
A brewer of decks, a brewer of tank top plus colorful shorts combos.
Yeah.
Does all sorts of
Not
brewing.
everyone can do that.
No.
Not
that
everybody
is
can do
very
that.
true.
But Billy can.
Billy can.
I'd have to actually wonder. I wonder what the best deck Billy brewed up.
It's a Hulk Flash deck.
You think so? I mean,
that's the best.
His PT deck was so good.
I also think that he had the Zoo deck that sided into Glare plus V2 land.
He had that in Honolulu.
Yeah, another master top 16 that Pro Tour.
I believe he got 9th. I believe.
Another masterpiece.
Yeah. He's not afraid to brew it up. And he will be back eventually. And I will be very excited when he does. I don't know if he's going to globetrot or anything, but he will definitely be back, and that should be fun to watch. But for right now, we will watch Hal Brady and Jesse Karmanzin continue to do battle here. Green-white versus black-white mid-range. 2 very popular decks in our standard format. Green-white definitely doing very well right now in the Open Series.
It's a sweet deck to watch. It's got some light synergies. It's easy to get behind. It's hard to feel like when you lose to it, you got cheated. It's a sweet deck.
Yeah, what'd your opponent do? Played really good creatures and
just
killed me
could
with
not
them?
beat that stupid Smiter.
Yeah.
No one says that, you know?
My opponent drew Experiment 1 and I lost.
Yeah.
Sorry?
Yeah, sorry.
Sorry, I guess? My opponent drew Pack Rat, and every card I drew didn't matter.
God, so stupid.
Yeah, that does suck.
Fleeceman Lion.
Yeah. It is just the most honest.
It was such a good deal up front, and then later on in the game, it was a different sort of good deal.
The most honest deck there is, and it's been cutting up the Open Series. Gonna see if Hal can win another game with the Temple of Silence here from Jesse. As Hal did start off with a Sunblade Elf. See if Hal has the Plains.
Oh,
he does.
yeah. That's the start.
And a Fleeceman.
Oh! 2-2 for 1 and a 3-3 for 2?
That's it. Ring the bell. See what Jesse's able to draw.
Man. Just so honest. One of each different basic land type in play 2.
That's why you play 8 of each.
Yeah. Uh-oh.
Yeah, this is what we call, this is going to be a beating. There's a voice. This is going to be a removal spell.
No.
Now, this is a lesson.
You need to do this when he's tapped out.
This is a lesson. Instants don't always need to be played as instants.
No, you gotta cast that on your turn when he's tapped out.
Now, it's funny to say you only need to learn this lesson once, but
That's not true, because it happens so often.
and also, not killing that creature on his own turn could honestly lose him the game right now.
Easily.
The game could just be over right now.
I mean, he's got a curve of removal, If he kills the Fleecemane Lion, he gets to untap and Hero's Downfall the Sunblade Elf or whatever.
Yeah.
And then he's got more than enough time to get to Blood Baron or Elspeth or whatever the top of his curve is. Now he's facing lethal in 2 turns. This is 7 damage coming across next turn. And Hal's still got 4 cards in his hand, just got to scry.
Yep. This will be 3 mana.
That stupid Fleecemane Lion.
Yeah, here's a Hero's Downfall. And now he's got to cast this on his own turn. So now Hal, if he has like a Johnny or whatever, he can just play it. Now, he's going to attack for 4 here. He's going to put Jesse down to 9. That is a Mana Confluence. That's a pass in turn. He probably doesn't have anything. So
Well, we'll find
yeah,
out.
chances are he has nothing and just is flooding.
It's not impossible that he has nothing. It's only 4 voices.
Yeah, you're right.
Or 4 advents, rather.
And,
Excuse me.
and Boon Satyr.
Sure.
I have a feeling he has something to cast. I'm just going to put that out there. Jesse going to tap some mana here. That's a Devour Flesh. I think you sack the voice.
Seems
Yeah.
like a safe sacrifice to me. Maybe he has Selesnya Charm. It looks like that's what he's thumbing here.
And he will sacrifice. So here comes the token in just a moment. Brady will gain a little bit of life as well. Something else pretty nice in this deck.
It's a great addition. What I like about Green-White Aggro is it still has game when it gets a lot of mana in play.
That's my favorite part about the
because
deck.
of Boon, Satyr, and Sunblade Elf.
Yeah.
And it's a 2-2 for 1, often enough.
Those are really the only kind of aggro decks I like to play are the ones that, when I am flooding out or whatever, I still have things to do.
Yeah, your Cloud Goat Rangers or your Fire Bolts or what have you.
Figure of Destiny.
Yeah.
That's why it's my favorite creature of all time. Good early, good medium, good late.
4 good deals.
Yep. Love it. And the best creature type.
Kithkin?
Duh.
What is a Kithkin? It's just a made-up wizard slaver thing?
Google it. All right, I'll tell you. It's the best thing in the world. That's what it is.
But that's not an answer. Well, whatever.
An Experiment 1 pre-combat here to bolster the Elemental token from Voice of Resurgence. This looks like it's going to be a Doomblade.
Gotta be thrilled if it's a block with Mutavault here, because that's just another turn off of casting Blood Baron.
Yeah. Is there another God's Willing? There's not. Okay, so just an attack here for 2. Jesse's going to go down to 7. Why does Hal have that grip? I actually think those are just Banishing Lights over there.
Yeah, and that's really rough here if Jesse's able to get to Blood Baron.
There's a Temple of Silence.
You can only be so reactive against a deck like Black-White, because they have so many ways to arbitrarily beat you. You can't get Blood Baron with Banishing Light. Even if they generate 3 Elspeth tokens, and then you Banishing Light the Elspeth, a lot of damage is already done.
Voice of Resurgence, the draw, going to play this pre-combat, of course, because of Experiment 1, and because of Instance. So, here's that. Of course, the question is, do we attack with both creatures? I think you do,
Oh, yeah.
because if he's blocking with Mutavaults, you're pretty happy with that.
Just do not allow him to get to one of his Haymakers. Any trades with Mutavault here are great for Hal.
Just got to keep on keeping on. It's pretty straightforward with the green-white aggro deck. Play a creature, make your other ones bigger, attack you with them. If you have something, that's cool, and if you don't, that's cool too. Looks like, yep, Mutavaults are going to get up. It looks like they're going to both be blocking. Now, if you're Jesse, you're really hoping your opponent doesn't have Selesnya Charm, and doesn't, so both those creatures are going to go away.
But this devours 2 more removal spells at minimum. It's a slow clock, but...
Manic Influence to draw. Here's an attack for 2. Karmanzin's going to go down to 5. But Brady's not able to take advantage right now. All he can do is pass the turn back, still holding those Banishing Lights. So if Karmanzin does have Blood Baron, and there's a Caves, and there is the Baron, this game basically ends. There's Selesnya Charm. You're a little late.
Yeah, Jesse still has to respect the possibility of Advent.
Yep.
That's a factor in all this, but those Banishing Lights are killing Hal right now. If those were anything,
yeah,
any creature, I think he wins this game pretty easily.
There's a land. Wonder what this is going to be. Oof.
Oof.
Does he attack?
I think with a backup Blood Baron, the answer is yes.
I think you can attack here too. And here's the thing that's really tough is that, yeah, I think, yeah, he comes to the right conclusion there because he could just die out of nowhere the next turn, and he needs to gain life. It's so important for him to gain life. So he's going to go up to 9. Because Brady has a Selesnya Charm in his hand and a land, so if he drew a Johnny this turn, he would just win the game.
Yeah. Boonstain or Ajani is another thing.
Yeah.
You know.
There's Manic Influence. Here's Sunblade Elf.
You got to take some chances against green-white fairly often because they have so much range. Can't just leave yourself at 5 life for multiple turns. You gotta do something.
And this is exactly why this black deck splashes white. Blood Baron is fantastic in the appropriate matchups. This is probably the best one, honestly, of the popularly played decks. Blood Baron is probably best against this deck. You'd think it's great against mono black, but we've seen too many instances where it's not as good as you would think it would be in that matchup.
It's fine.
It's definitely fine. And there are games that wins on its own, but
Devour Flesh, Lifebane Zombie, there's some factors.
Yeah.
It's still super powerful, but not 100% of the time.
those other white splashes, of course, for Elspeth and Banishing Light, Sin Collector out of the sideboard. The white splash is good. You do pay a cost with your mana, Gobbler Shrine, Caves of Kolios, Temple of Silence coming in and play tap, but you can work your way around those costs. As you see, Sunblade Elf and Selesnya Charm trade with a Blood Baron, but Jesse is at 17 now, but
There's the Advent.
there's the Advent. So if Karmanzin isn't careful, things could turn here.
And there's been several turns of, well, he obviously doesn't have Advent, so it basically has to have been drawn.
And Jesse just played his land right off of the top of the deck, so I would be very surprised if that card in his hand is a removal spell. Very surprised. And he's just going to pass the turn back. He puts on the brakes.
Wow. Showing a lot of discipline there.
If you're Brady, I think you have to cast this Advent Worm. I think. And I feel like now he's kind of given away that he does have Advent in his hand by thinking so much of this at this point.
Yeah.
Why would my opponent think this long at the end of the turn? Draw a card. Ugh. Another copy of Banishing Light. And so now Voice can't attack. That's a Thoughtseize. Well, now you got to cast it.
The cat is now out of the bag.
Yep. So here comes the big worm.
And now a second cat is out of the bag, which is don't really worry about trying to resolve Lifebane Zombies.
Yeah, or other stuff.
Yeah.
Because there are 2 Banishing Lights over there for Hal Brady. So, Worm token incoming in just a moment. Karmanzin has had that 1 card in his hand for some time now. We don't think it's a good one. What is this? 3 mana, maybe a Banishing Light? Yeah, that's really good.
That's
really good.
A great turn here for Jesse.
Yeah, I thought he's huge. Good play by not attacking too that turn. Could have got absolutely ruined.
Yep. Sequenced everything right.
Yeah. And because his life total is so high, he can afford to play conservatively as he did.
Yeah.
That was the big one. Both players making sure the life totals are appropriate here as Blood Baron's gaining life and Brady is taking some damage from Mana Confluence, so they want to make sure everything's okay. Now, again, what makes it interesting is that, hey, Hal could just draw another Advent of the Worm. Boon Satyrs not bad either.
That's a blocker.
Yeah, in for 2. If he can block, that's all you can really ask for. Karmanzin's going to draw a card. He's going to send in. You got to try. You got to take one to do so, but you got to try. Here's Boon Satyr.
Can Hal get out from under this?
Hal's saying, am I allowed to block? The answer is yes, I believe. Yep, and it's a Lifebane zombie. I have nothing.
That's the one card Hal can really easily beat at this point.
Now here's the thing. Jesse could have played Lifebane zombie pre-combat, saw that there was a Boon Satyr, and not attacked.
Yeah, I'm not sure if Boon Satyr was on his radar.
Yeah.
He might have been it's Advent or bust. But Boon Satyr this could have been avoided.
Yeah.
He could have at least been in a staring contest where if he draws a removal spell, could then start attacking again.
The thing is, he's going to play Lifebane zombie anyway, so you might as well
you
play
might as well do it.
pre-combat.
Yeah, you might as well know.
Now here's experiment 1. So now Brady says, all right, let's get moving. I got to try to close this game out as fast as I can. I've made my way through 2 Blood Barons. There's a Temple of Silence off the top. Let's see where that card's going. It's going to the top. You got to be a little bit scared there if you're Hal, but hey, what can you do? You just got to keep attacking. Draw a card. This is an attack for, looks like it's going to be something pre-combat, a Fleecemane Lion. That's going to involve that, an attack for 4. Karmanzin's going to go down a little bit lower, looks like to 13. And of course, Brady can make that Fleecemane Lion monstrous next turn. Karmanzin draws a card.
What would he have kept on top and not cast?
No idea.
There's a Voice of Resurgence in play.
I think you go monstrous with this thing.
What card could have Jesse kept?
I don't know. He thought about putting it on the bottom. I have no idea what that card could be.
I can't even imagine what it. Oh, was it Pack Rat?
Maybe it's Pack Rat. There's that. This is Advent of the Worm, and that's a concession of the game. Hal Brady with a top deck Boon Satyr, able to take care of that Blood Baron Viscopa and get the job done. Moving on to 5-1 with green-white.
A harrowing set of games there. That third game was pretty insane, and I think if Jesse scopes out the terrain with that Lifebane zombie before attacking with the Blood Baron, is a much different outcome. If there's Advent of Hal's hand, you at least know about it. If there's Boon Satyr, you force it into play. In either event, you give yourself an opportunity to find a Doomblade effect for whatever Hal potentially drew before attacking with your Blood Baron.